Welcome back to another Rehab Rebels episode. Our guest today is Shehla, a PT who is the CEO of GoKnee LLC. She was born in Liverpool, England, home of the Beatles. She immigrated to Canada when she was a baby and grew up in Prince Edward Island. She went to PT school at, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Dalhousie University in Halifax, Nova Scotia, but has practiced predominantly in the U.S. She is a solopreneur of GoKnee LLC. Her business partners exited in 2021. GoKnee is an advanced home exercise program for the total knee replacement patient and includes a patented knee device and a customized exercise program that is being used across the U.S. and Canada, Kenya, and Australia. Her professional PT career has been primarily focused on geriatrics ranging from long-term care, skilled nursing facilities, and home health. Her first job out of PT school was in the U.S. as a traveling PT. It was the best way for her to make money, to pay off her student loans, as well as being able to travel around the U.S. She fell in love with Middle Tennessee, where she has been for the past 18 years. Welcome to the show, Shehla.
Thank you for having me, Tanner.
It's a pleasure. I am not going to waste any time, and I'm going to jump right into how did your entrepreneurial journey begin?
Well, I was going to say it's an unconventional way, but the more I dig into how businesses start, it's usually necessity is the mother of invention. So I had a patient 5 years ago that was struggling from knee replacement. And back then I thought he shouldn't have been, meaning he was younger, he was healthier, he was motivated, he was compliant. He was your great knee replacement patient, was really active. We were doing everything that we knew to do and his range of motion wasn't coming back. Let's fast forward. He went to the surgeon for a follow-up appointment. Surgeons don't like your range. We'll probably have to schedule an MUA, the manipulation under anesthesia. Patient comes back and says, you've got to be kidding me. I'm doing everything you're telling me to. I'm very compliant. I don't want another procedure. And a colleague of mine, a fellow PT, very creative, she went to a local hardware store. She built something, brought it back. We figured out how we could use this contraption to get the guy to do some more aggressive exercises on his own at home, knowing he would do them. And lo and behold, it worked. And I will tell you that for people that are listening that truly have the entrepreneurial bug, they're probably like, oh my God, that's fantastic. But we shelved it. We put it back in the little equipment closet, with all the walkers and the platform walkers and all that. And we just put it away, solved a problem for a patient. And then a couple months later, we had another lady. And anyways, now you fast forward and you realize you have something that can help a larger population. It was working. And that's when the business idea started.
For sure. Awesome. That's brilliant. Totally makes sense. There's a problem. You guys come up with something and solve it. Can you give us a 50,000 foot view as to the start of the business, when it started with this patient to where you are now? And then I want to talk about some struggles that you went through and how you overcame them.
We were really excited. Again, I never wanted to be a business owner. I loved being a PT, so I know a lot of people that listen to your show were always missing something or looking for something. Well, that wasn't me. But the thing is, once I saw that there was a possibility of helping thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people all over the world with this product, that's exciting to me. I by nature want to help people. So this was something that I was very passionate about. The only issue was that we were very naive. So three physical therapists started this company and we all had the exact same skill set, which is we were really good clinicians and that's it. None of us had business knowledge. None of us had finance knowledge. None of us had marketing knowledge, all the things needed. What happened was we just thought we have a product. Oh, there's 1 million people next year that are going to have this surgery. Let's figure out what we want to charge for this. And we're going to be zillionaires. I mean, I know that sounds foolish. I mean, we didn't say multiply by 1 million, but we thought by about 100,000, maybe 10% of them will want to do this. We were so naive. And so green. As I say this out loud to you, I apologize to your listeners who have been on a business journey for a long time, but now fast forward to, 5 years, I didn't understand the product adoption cycle. I didn't understand what it took to get a product to market. I didn't understand so many things, but the consistency is I saw the value. I saw the potential. I wanted to help and I was going to figure it out. And that's where I'm at today. My business partners exited. They clearly didn't see the vision that I saw and they weren't as vested. And COVID was really hard for everybody. So no fault to theirs. I don't blame anybody for anything, but I'm so thankful that the idea was created by my colleague and that she allowed me to participate early on because it's a constant joy every day.
When did you guys start? When did this business officially start?
2018.
Okay. All right. And then you guys actually launched the product in 2020, right? Right around COVID.
Yeah. And that's because, patenting is a process. Research is a process. So we started the business. We created a company that had the intellectual property, like we were the business owners of the intellectual property. But yeah, we still had our clinician hat on really firmly on our head. We had no idea that we could sell this to the consumer without the research, because we were healthcare providers. So everything has to be clinically proven. Everything needs to be evidence-based. We put it on pause about selling it and generating any revenue related to it, even people that wanted to buy it. So we officially launched at, January 2020 is when I quit my day job because the research had come out at the end of 2019. It was amazing. Better, meaning these doctorate students, were able to clinically document why it was working so well. We knew it was, but I'd forgotten some of my knowledge from back in school. So they explained the physiology behind why it was just so effective. And I was, okay, let's go. It's go time.
I think you're the first guest we've had on the podcast that actually has a product, a physical product. And so I am curious what the stages of this are. And can you talk us through that? Once you get the actual device locked in, the design, then patent, then bring to market. But can you fill us in on all that?
Gosh, you'd think I should be the expert on this. I feel like people have 50 patents are the expert, but I will tell you my personal journey. We created something. Apparently it's called a prototype. You find a patent attorney. They have to do a whole dig deep to make sure there's not something else that's already like this. That's a nightmare in itself. Our patent just came through for the US, meaning it's patent pending for like years. I don't know if that's so that we keep paying money for it. I don't know. But anyways, it's a 4 or 5 year process for the patent to come through. It's costly. It's timely. It's a lot of back and forth with engineers and patent attorneys. But during that time, you can tweak the product, its appearance. But we did what's called a utility patent, meaning it's how the device is used that is patented. So someone could change the appearance of it, but they can't repeat the functionality of it because it's a tool that allows the individual to do things like joint mobilizations and, muscle energy techniques. And so we wanted to patent not the look of it. We knew the look of it was less to be desired. And if anyone goes to the website, yes, I'm going to tell you my baby is ugly, but my baby is super smart. But yeah, so that's how you come up with a prototype. You start in the patenting process. You figure out what it is that's unique about your product. You make sure there's nothing else that's out there coming down the pipeline of the patent process. But since it came through, we've tried to change the appearance of it, not the functionality, with minimal success. So really what you see today is what the original device looked like. We added a few colors and patent stickers and made in the USA, stuff like that. But it's pretty true to the initial prototype, which is unheard of, apparently, is what I've learned. Most people's has a journey and it looks very different what they're selling today than what it was, but not for us.
Thinking out loud, I would think mass producing this and then bringing it to market. Can you talk about those?
Yes. And let me tell you, we did what you said, which is actually a mistake. You don't mass produce until you know you have sales.
Okay.
Yeah. See, we thought very similar there, Tanner. We thought, you know what? We need to produce this because the minute this goes live, it's going to be a product drop and it's going to go crazy like it does on TikTok. But no, that's not the case. Just because you have a product and a customer base that should want it doesn't mean they're going to understand the value and they're going to want to separate their money for this product, especially when it's new, especially when surgeons and therapists don't know about it. Remember, knee replacements is an older demographic. These guys want the endorsement of their surgeon or their health professional. They're not, I got a 20-year-old son who's a TikTok guy told me this is going to work. It's going to work and I'm going to do it, right? That's not how the older generation works. So again, there was a lot of lack of knowledge on our part on what it takes to cause behavior change for an individual to purchase something with their own cash that would benefit their recovery. And so, yes, we built the inventory, and that's saying of if you build it, they will come is not true for Shehla Rooney and GoKnee. Okay, it was for Kevin Costner, but it was not for us. But yeah, so we built it, they did not come, and we had a ton of inventory for a very long time. Keep in mind also, I'm going to give myself a little bit of grace. We also didn't anticipate COVID. Okay.
That's fair. And then the next following step would be, what's it like bringing a physical product to market? It sounds great. You being able to get onto an influencer on TikTok, have them market your stuff that's in the health field. But tell us your journey. How did you guys go about it?
These are such great questions, Tanner. I don't even know that these are things that I've stopped to think about in a sequential order. I think they were all happening all at the same time. If you have a product, now you're asking yourself, who is going to pay for it? How's it going to get paid for? So you have to ask yourself, are you going to go through the insurance process? Could we get this covered by Medicare or, the large insurances? Are we going to go private pay? And I'll be honest, our decision to go for a cash-based private pay was simply because we could not afford the time and the cost associated with trying to get it covered by insurance. Just know that you don't guarantee once an insurance or Medicare decides to cover it, they get to dictate what the value of that product is. So if they decide it's similar to this other knee contraption and the CPT code for that is $18.79, then all of a sudden your product could be devalued and it's done. Once Medicare determines what the cost value is, every other insurance is going to follow along. And I'm going to say at the time when we looked at it, to even sit in front of a board of Medicare reviewers for new products, it was a 6-month wait list and probably a $50,000, almost, I'm going to call it an entry ticket. But at the time, we didn't have the time, we didn't have the money, and we were being told by some experts in the field, you don't know what they're going to value it at which point you're done. So with combination of COVID, combination of limited resources and funding, realizing that, we need to not sell to 1 million people. We need to sell to the people that will spend money on their health and find those people that spend money on, high quality sneakers, a good gym membership. So people who are doing product businesses, those are the choices. Covered by insurance, private pay. It's nice when things are covered by insurance because then doctors jump on board. Surgeons will endorse products that are covered by insurance. The negative to cash pay is health professional endorsements are much less. We have biases as therapists. We don't want patients to have to pay money for something. And then surgeons don't like to even talk to you if you have a cash-based product. It lacks validity because it doesn't have the insurance backing.
Can I ask you how you overcame that barrier? How did you market towards that specific audience who's willing to spend money on their health to have better recovery time and better recovery in general?
Another good question. I wish you were around during this journey to ask these questions. It's marketing. We went through probably 5 marketing agencies until we found the one that asked us the right questions. And like I said, our naivety was, if there's, at the time there was 700,000 people in the US having knee replacement surgery every year. And our number was, we just want to get to 5% of those. But we didn't know how and we didn't know why. But our thought was we were making financial projections based on if we could just get to 5% of the market. In hindsight, I say this out loud to you, how ridiculous for us to think we were just going to randomly find them or they were going to find us. So the answer to your question is meticulous, intentional marketing, finding who your ideal customer is, knowing everything about them, like picturing one human being. Miss Jones is 67 years old. What leisure activities is she doing? Where is she going to eat? What kind of activities is she doing? How old are her children? How old are her grandchildren? What was her job? What was her education level? How much did she make during her lifetime? Dig deep, because the person who's on Medicaid, who's had an amputated foot or is on food stamps, they're never going to be my client, even though as a therapist, I want them to be. The therapy hat is I want to put it in the hands of every single person that can benefit from it. My business hat is I want to put it in the hands of people who understand the value of it. And so we shifted our marketing to target the individuals, the things that they want to hear. Do you want to get back on the pickleball court? Are you wanting to return to traveling? Are you the reason your spouse can't do the things that you want to do is because of your knee pain? So we changed that. And it was hard for me. When the marketing guy that finally got it said to me, you're not going after large masses. You're going after a very niche individual who understands, who will deviate from their surgeon's recommendation, who will purchase a product that their therapist says they've never heard of, is very different, right?
Yeah, that's wild. But it's so true.
So true. So it was hard for me. It was hard. And even to this day, in the last 2 days, I probably get 4 people reach out on my website who said, I'm on a fixed income. I only make this much a month. My husband died 3 months ago and I have to do this recovery on my own. Can you give me one for free? Again, my therapy hat's like, yes, let me figure out how to do that. But I did that for the first 3 years. And, my business partners had to exit. We were in financial ruin. I cannot do that anymore. So now my therapy hat's on really firm. And I have to say, I wish I could help you out. Why don't you call me? We'll have a free consultation about your knee replacement recovery, and I can give you some suggestions on what to do. I can give you a discount. I can offer you free shipping. I'll give you something, but I can't just give away. It's a business.
Exactly.
So it's been hard. It's been really hard.
That's something I found too. And you pointed this out right from the start. The rehab professionals in general, we are not educated or have the experience, especially right out of school, with business related things. There's so many things, marketing, sales. And then there is, I don't know if it's a cultural bias or this feeling of, should I really charge for this? Can I charge this much? Is that okay? I don't know what you'd call that. What was that like for you? What was your experience with all that?
That's a great point. And I think anybody who's listening, who's thinking about a product business, you keep thinking about cost plus pricing, meaning the cost of the materials to build my product, which again, if you go to the website, the materials are simplistic. You keep thinking that because you know how much it costs to buy the materials, you should add a little bit of a surcharge and that should be your price point. That's what I thought. I thought it should only cost this much, very small amount. But what your product is not a cost plus value. It's value-based pricing, meaning you're reducing a time that person is spent in pain. You're getting them back to work quicker. You're allowing them to travel faster. You're allowing them to learn to play pickleball. They are depressed and devastated from years of knee pain, and you're giving them the hope of getting back to doing the things that they want to do. So a faster recovery, less pain, more hope. That's value, not PVC and pool noodle. I mean, I probably went through at least 6 different pricing models before I got one that I understood and my gut felt good about. And then I met that marketing team that I told you helped me connect all the dots. And they said the same thing. This is a gold mine. You have something that reduces not just a pain point, real pain. And in marketing, you're taught that if it's too low, you eliminate a whole bunch of people because they think there's no value. If it's too high, you have the people that can't afford it. But again, if you're in the middle, you get nobody. You need to pick what you want. I said, what do you think I should do? And after talking to me for months, we need to do a high ticket item. And it took a long time for me to swallow that. But he created a website around high ticket item. He created branding and messaging, high ticket item. So, I'm no longer selling a knee device. I'm selling a knee recovery program. Our exercise program is from my 26 years of experience. It's all the research I've read. It's all the evidence I've gathered. It's all the anecdotal. It's all the patients I've treated. The device, yes, was built at a hardware store, but the program that comes with it, the safety, that's what they're buying. And so value-based versus cost-plus pricing is what you have to consider in a product business.
I love that. I think it's interesting too. Some things that maybe we don't consider, especially not being in the business field, is you're talking about how do you price the product? And some additional things I'm thinking about is obviously your time, employees' time, but also budgets for marketing or like things that we may not actually understand that are baked into a lot of the brands that we purchase that we like. So they can have money to get out there and get the marketing out there too.
We almost had 3 years of no revenue. Oh, and my therapy hat was on firmly. So I was giving 100% discounts to anybody who asked because I just wanted to get it in the hands of any patient to use it. So if you had said, I can't afford it, I would have been like, it's okay, Tanner. You use it. You give me a testimonial and we're going to call it even. That can't work for very long. So, to me, you're right. We were in so much debt. And on a personal level, I don't try to live in debt. And so it was really hard. I didn't know what good business debt was or bad business debt. And so we were learning all that. But you are exactly right. I did not have an undergraduate in business before I got into PT school. I did not take any business classes during my PT journey. So we struggled on all fronts. And for those of you out there that are looking to start a product business, I urge you to not partner with 3 like-minded PTs. We only offered one unique strength and we all 3 had it. If I could go back and have a crystal ball, I would have been, I need someone that has financial funding, business, loan, knowledge. I need someone who has marketing, sales knowledge. So, we were a company of only one strong suit, and that does not equal an easy road.
100%. I couldn't have said it any better. You need marketing, you need finance, you need all that. And if somebody already has that experience, great.
And let's also, for your audience listening, this product can be used, like you said in the introduction, in Kenya, in Australia. So I don't need a marketing company that knows how to market a local boutique. I need a company who knows how to market an e-commerce, cash-based, international business. And guess what? I live in a small town in Middle Tennessee. How naive of me to think that every marketing agency would know how to do that. I mean, just like in physical therapy, someone comes to me with a pelvic floor dysfunction. It was not my strong suit. Right? If you gave me a child with something, it wasn't my strong suit. I was a geriatric specialist. So to me, how naive of me to not know what to ask the marketing company, and shame on the marketing company for not making sure they understood what I needed so they could give me what it needed to go both ways.
Man, we're talking about a lot of crazy stuff. And that's my next follow-up question. What is a personal struggle that you went through that you can think of that you're willing to share along this journey? And how did you get through that?
Goodness. I mean, my brain is having a multitude of things come through the surface. How about I'll do a 30-second round robin of all the personal things and you decide which one you think would be advantageous to discuss. Obviously, I mentioned that, 2020, I quit my day job and COVID happens, financial ruin right there. In the middle of COVID, my husband asks for a divorce after 25 years and 3 children. COVID was hard on him in a different way. He was a nursing home administrator, so very difficult. And then at the end of 2020, my business partners are, whoa, we're now 3 years in and we're not making any money. So we don't know if we can continue this. In the middle of 2021, they exit, the 2 of them. So now not only am I in debt, but I have to figure out how to buy the 2 of them out. Again, with possibly my marriage ending and no financial money. I got children that are missing their baseball season and, missing graduation. I had 2 kids that were graduated 2020 and 2021 from high school. So that's happening. And then I'm dealing with, the children dealing with depression and anxiety because of what's happening in our personal life. So again, I felt there was a lot of reasons to not continue. Let me put it that way. I just felt there was a lot of reasons that they were saying, nobody wants to buy your product. Doctors and surgeons and therapists aren't endorsing it. Marketing is not working, but it was the wrong marketing. You got business partners that don't see value in it. They want to exit. I have a spouse that's saying, our family life is not working. I mean, I don't know. There are some good ones right there.
I love your honesty and sharing your journey with us. Thank you for that. Appreciate you.
Yes. But I would like to say, for the audience listening, the good thing right now, 2024, my husband and I have reunited. We're back together. My family's united, still dealing with some, mental health issues with my children, but everything's good. My business partners, again, live literally 2 miles from my home. So we have a good relationship. They don't want to be on board, but they're seeing the traction that GoKnee's getting, and they're realizing they jumped ship when it was difficult. On a positive note, yeah, there was a lot of struggle and strife, but I think that what I don't give myself enough credit for was I have a vision. I can see what GoKnee is going to be. And there's lots of things that are speed bumps along the way. You get to have a choice on how you handle every fail, every challenge, every struggle. The things that were important to me, I fought for. Also, part of GoKnee's revenue issues was me making a concerted effort to work on my marriage. You can't grow a business and work all the time, even though I wanted to, when you're trying to fix something like that. So again, it was part of my lack of revenue. And it was a struggle for me, that imposter syndrome of everything should be about the business, but that's not true, because you have to ask yourself your why, right? Why am I doing this? It's for the financial freedom, the flexibility, to travel with my family, to grow old with my spouse. So these people that were, who cares if they buy your product and they want to hang clothes on it? You just sell. It didn't feel right. And luckily I had a few key people that were like, you do what's right for Shehla Rooney, and everything else will fall into place. And if you have to press pause, it's not going to be to the doom of your company. And I'm thankful for the people that told me that, because there's a lot of people speaking in your ear. You got to work 14-hour days and give up everything in life in order to succeed. And it's not true. That's their bias.
That was my obvious question to ask you was, why did you keep going? Why didn't you quit is what I was thinking.
Yeah, no, I thought about it all the time. I mean, and I thought about it because I'm not going to be able to financially support this anymore, because my husband was the one working the real job and had the health insurance, so I could do this dream thing. And how am I going to, co-parent and raise 3 kids? Owning a business that you're passionate about I think about it all the time. I go to bed thinking about it. I wake up thinking about it. I love working on the weekends about it because I love it. And so part of me was, I think I'm going to have to go back to a 9-to-5 job, weekends off, so I can be there for my kids. But I'm so thankful. My children are, now they're 22, 20, and 14. But at the time, I remember saying to them, I think GoKnee may not work out. My business partners have left. Dad and I are working on this. And I just remember my kids saying, are you kidding me? They knew how excited I was. They'd heard about every win. I mean, we're big talkers in my family. And so I just remember, especially the 2 older ones, saying, you can't not do it. And then my son, well, it's going to be your legacy. It's the reason I'm going to be able to retire young. He was joking, but he's going to reap the benefits of this successful journey. But yeah, I will say that if I didn't have the support of my kids saying, we're good, we love seeing you be passionate about something, because if they had said, yeah, we need you, I would have made the self-sacrifice that moms make and I would have done the right thing to get the regular paycheck with the regular hours, and I would have put myself back in that box, and I would have been okay. But I'm thankful that that didn't happen.
You need to write a book about this.
You have no idea, so many things. But you know what? I also encourage business owners, there are opportunities presented every day. Sometimes we're not open to seeing them. Despite all the strife I was going through, I also was doing a personal journey. And you've talked about this, which I applaud you for being open and vulnerable all the time. I was doing counseling. I was doing even hypnotherapy and meditation. I was doing things that, let's say 5 years ago, I would have called fluff. I was a very black and white human being. I did a lot of, reading and growing. I'm very thankful for what we went through because it caused a deep dive into a personal journey of growth. And because of that, I was seeing opportunities everywhere instead of seeing reasons to not pursue. You can either wallow and be like, everything is saying, don't do this, or it's saying, work harder, find the right target audience. My marketing ramped up big time when I felt the urgency of not having my financial support of my husband.
Let's talk about mindset. How did aspects of your mindset shift from when you started this business journey till today? And talk about the story and transition there.
I would have said I had a growth mindset before. I've always wanted to learn and grow, but I always was selective in what I chose to learn and grow in. Whereas since I've started the business, those topics are not selected by me. You have to understand QuickBooks, or you need to learn about Stripe, or you need to figure out how to do email automation. These are not topics that I find interesting or enjoyable. But what I do find interesting and enjoyable is the outcome. Meaning when I automate something, oh my goodness, the joy that it brings me to see it work and save me time, and that's what everybody becomes a business owner is eventually you're not trading time for money, right? Where I can wake up. Today I woke up, 2 sales showed up in my website. On my email inbox, right? You're just generating income without actually doing a service. That's the dream, right? So I think that that's the biggest mind shift is I'm learning and growing in things I never would have intentionally chose to seek out. It's the transition from a clinician's mindset to an entrepreneur's mindset, which is I have a problem. Before I solved it for one patient, now I'm solving it for a global company. I have noticed that the ability for my brain to quickly go through and filter through and sieve through, maybe 5 things I'm considering, all of a sudden I'm getting to the answer quicker, or I'm falling less often, or I'm failing quicker and getting up quicker, meaning the failures still happen. But, before it was surgeon said your baby is ugly or I'll never endorse a product that looks like that. And I'd wallow. Now I'm like, that's a no from them. Let's move on and find the one who understands what I'm trying to do. Everybody is not your customer, but the ones that are your customer will speak it from the rooftop. They'll do a Google review without asking. They'll do a referral without any incentive. That's the win.
That's how you know you've targeted for sure. Your primary audience member, they recognize and understand the value that you're giving them so much so that it affected their life so much they're willing to give you a review. So I loved how you were talking about filling out the avatar form with all the background, like demographics and psychographics of your target audience. And that's what they talk about in online marketing and stuff too. So.
And Tanner, I want to make sure that whoever is listening, make sure that that is a key takeaway. So if you're having a lot of negative interactions with your customers, it's because you are not targeting the right customer. And I'll tell you, as a business owner, because there's so much uncertainty with finances and, generating revenue, we don't want to say no to that clientele or that funnel of individuals because we don't want to lose that money. But I am here to say you are actually slowing your revenue growth by going after the people that are sucking your time and your joy.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're unique for the show in what you're offering and what you're doing. And so I'm curious, what being a solopreneur of a business, selling a product, being a woman, having an ethnic background, can you talk to us about that? What you've experienced, maybe some cultural things going on? What do you got for us?
Let's talk about the positives. The positives of, and again, if anybody's listening to this, I look Pakistani because my parents were Pakistani. So I got the darker skin. And I'll tell you, the bias associated with brown color, skin color, is people assume I'm a doctor. So I won't lie that there are times that I have been on a Zoom call with a doctor who assumed I was also a doctor, and he gave me his time of day because of his own bias, and I didn't correct him. So for the record, I know that's funny, but you got to use what your mama gave you, right? So there's an assumption that I'm intelligent, and I'll take that. But as for the female thing, my GoKnee business is targeting surgeons and physical therapy clinic owners, which for the most part that I have seen have been middle to later age white men. From a female bias standpoint, as a PT, I didn't feel it because I think it's common knowledge that there's a lot of women in PT. But when I became a business owner and I had a product and I was pitching it to these men, I will tell you, I have lost track of how many people said, you really need to make that device look better. I just got all the advice from the men because clearly I didn't know anything about business because I'm a female. And even for those listening, I had to change the cadence of my voice when I spoke to them. I used my hands to talk. I had to tone that down because it's very put-offing. That was probably my bias from the female standpoint. And my cultural, one more thing about my cultural thing is engineers, lawyers, and doctors. Those are your top three job choices that when you're growing up in the household, you're like, these are your three. What do you want to do? When I wanted to become a physical therapist, my dad was like, I guess that's okay. You're a female, you're in the health world. But fast forward to now, I'm a business owner, global impact. I speak internationally. And my dad is, I don't want to say embarrassed, and I don't think he'll ever listen to Rehab Rebels, but he thinks I'm unemployed. There's no set paycheck. I don't have a brick and mortar store because I'm an e-commerce. Like I just ship them out. So when people ask him, what does his daughter do? You can just hear him. Oh, she's a physical therapist. She specializes in geriatrics. She's got this. He never says, I'm a business owner, which is so funny because my friends' parents would be like, she owns her own business and she's killed. No, not in my family. It's a little, let's keep it on the down low that she's an entrepreneur because entrepreneur means no money to my dad. I mean, he supports me in that do what you got to do, but he also thinks since my husband's financially, has a full-time job, he's, well, at least he's taking care of the family while Shehla does whatever she's doing. But to pat my dad on the back, he's also the one that initiated the growth mindset from the time, since I was a toddler, I was taught to always excel, be competitive, do the best you can. To this day, I reap the rewards of that.
100%. Yeah. What is a question you wished you were asked more?
From a business standpoint, I wish there were more people that objected about my business than were supportive early on. I think that when people say they're going to start a business, most people are like, yeah, you should do it. You're going to love it. And they give you the fluffy answer. Yeah, you're going to be in control of your own schedule. And I think that that's not the reason you go into business because you work harder than you've ever worked. Yes, it feels good and whatever. Someone just recently said, a really successful entrepreneur said to me that they have voluntarily worked below the poverty line for years, meaning to grow their business, they had to take such a low salary, right? It doesn't get advertised that when you're in business, you're going to make a whole lot less and work a whole lot more for a very long time before that changes, before it pivots and goes in the other direction. I wish people had said why it wouldn't have worked, meaning when we came up with the product and we said what it was going to do. Obviously the attorneys that are forming our corporation are like, yeah, you should do it. The bankers are like, yeah, sounds like a good plan. The business mentors, the local free resources that are supposed to mentor, they're yeah, you should do it. Marketing companies, yeah, we're going to find your customers. I just wish that there had been more naysayers. Let's tell you why this is not going to work. You do know you're not going to see money for 5 years. You do know that you're going to be in the hole. Not that that's a negative. I think that today I would have been able to receive and overcome all those objections instead of living the objections and thinking there were reasons why my business was going to fail. And it's just like therapy. If someone says my shoulders are really bad, I can't use anything that involves my arms in order to recover, then we just automatically regroup and we come up with something different. Or if I know a patient has dementia, I just automatically change my plan of care knowing what her deficits are. But I feel like as a business owner, you don't know what your deficits are. No one's telling you what your deficits are. They all want you to continue on this path without giving you I'm going to call it the bird's eye view of all the reasons why this might not work. That's not a negative view. That's a realistic view. And then you get to start your business with a realistic view.
I 100% agree. There's so many things. There are these great aspects of being your own business owner and getting things going and making your own schedule and calling the shots and like seeing what patients you want to see, when you want to see them, all that stuff. But a lot of people don't understand that it really seems pretty simple on the surface and okay, I'll take a course or I'll learn or read a book and figure it out. I'm not saying you won't learn and gain from that, but there's just so much more to make it all work. And so much of the time, even Rehab Rebels, I'm investing in this to keep it going. recently just got a sponsor. A little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe this is all going to pay for itself and work out. But a lot of people put in years of their own time into something that isn't necessarily generating any sort of money. And it's a risk. It may work out, it may not. And if it does not work out, well, you could always go back to traditional therapy. And there's two other aspects of doing something that ideally you're passionate about and you can create a business out of if you want. It's the networking and the connections and the relationships you'll make and the skills that you've learned now from actually going through all that, even if it doesn't turn out the way that you thought it was going to.
100% agreed. Like I said, the journey that I've been on, I've probably gotten at least 4 to 5 degrees, honorary degrees myself in sales and marketing and finance and, entrepreneurship, business, whatever. These are things that I'm going to take with me forever in whatever I do, whether it's growing GoKnee, whether it's selling GoKnee, whether it's doing a different business venture. But yeah, these are skill sets I would never have gotten otherwise.
So what do you love about the reality that you're in, this solopreneur of GoKnee? What do you love about your new reality?
I love talking to customers. I love when a surgeon or an innovative PT reaches out to me on LinkedIn and says, hey, I saw your product online. It seems pretty cool. Can we chat? Yes, because the first 2 years I was reaching out to everybody and nobody wanted to chat, right? Nobody wanted to know about it. So it's nice to be on the receiving end of people finding the product, wanting to learn more. Again, I just started getting word of mouth referrals. That's been a huge win for me. I mean, congratulations to you on the sponsorship. I get what it takes for someone to want to invest in your business and what you're doing to help your financial journey. So yeah, I've just had a lot of wins. And so what does my day look like? God, every day it's something different. I mean, every day it's something. I'm going to look at QuickBooks and I'm going to look at the finances and try to move money around to try to cover all the bills that I have. Or I'm manufacturing and I'm boxing and I'm printing labels. I mean, to be honest with you, just yesterday, my headache was I had a return. I'm not going to tell you that, it was a surgeon who said, return that, you don't need it, which is so unfortunate because the patient found it, bought it on their own and shared it with the surgeon because they were so happy. And then the surgeon said, no. So again, change bias. But, even that was, oh no, they got an automated email, from my Klaviyo account that said the device was shipped when I created the return label. What a stupid headache. Today, I'm going to figure out why did they get the wrong email sent to them and I'll figure it out. But every day is different. I'm constantly listening to podcasts, which is how I found you. I'm constantly talking to people I would never have had contact with. I'm reading books that would never have been in my top 100. Like I said, it's filling my thirst for problem solving, which once you become an entrepreneur, all of a sudden you see all the problems. When I was a PT, I just saw patients' issues, but now I see it everywhere in everything. Every day, you could be on a customer call for an hour. You could be interviewing with someone on a podcast. You could be trying to figure out Klaviyo email automation. You could be trying to create a LinkedIn post that's captivating and exciting. It's scary, but something changes at some point and it becomes exciting.
Wonderful. I love how you said, if you build it, they will come is completely false. I'm right there with you. And, just because you have a website or a podcast doesn't mean that people are going to be knocking at your door to set up affiliations and sponsorships. I was actually reading an intake form from another guest that's going to be on the show, and she worded it basically, you eat what you kill. She's a copywriter, an online marketer. And so part of how she has to earn money, especially since her business is just starting, is reaching out on her own to contact people and drum up her own business. People aren't coming to her, You have to get around that barrier, even the mental aspect out of it, to be able to actually have a successful business.
Well, and if you think about it, when we work for another PT employer, we show up and we're given a caseload. We didn't have to go find those 8 to 10 people, and we don't have to exchange their money. We already got paid the minute we showed up for work. So it's a completely different ballgame. If I don't reach out, if I don't connect, if I don't do the Google ad, or I don't create a YouTube video, I don't create a lead bag, all these things that are so new to me as a business owner, if I don't do those things, then they will not come. And again, it's always, you're just constantly pivoting and learning. Like, oh, why did the last 5 people that bought, they already had their surgery? Well, I must not be targeting them right because I want them to buy my product before they have surgery. So if they're buying it after surgery, then I'm missing something in my marketing or my content that I'm creating. It's just so interesting to me that there is, and I know some people listening might be like, well, it sounds like nothing's ever good enough, or, you're just never going to reach that pinnacle. And I think that's the people who think like that right now. They're on their mind shift journey. Because to me, I see that as the challenge of, oh, that one didn't work, which means Einstein, right? He figured out 999 ways that a light bulb does not work, right? So to me, that's what I'm doing. I found 4 marketing agencies that did not work until I found the one that did. It's actually to me, it's quite fulfilling. I feel like all entrepreneurs have that zest for the thirst for learning something and overcoming something. And I think that that's fun.
For sure. I guess here, just closing, I will say what I've noticed with talking to people that are interested in doing entrepreneurial stuff or business stuff, the easiest point of entry for the rehab field is doing like a concierge rehab business where it's not necessarily brick and mortar. They go out to patients' home and treat them. And the best marketing that I've heard everybody say over and over again, you mentioned it yourself, that you just got, is word of mouth. You don't have to pay for it. You just deliver on your services and your overall care. And then the rest talks for itself. It's like we talked about earlier, getting that exact target niche audience or patient, whatever, they are going to vouch for you if you're delivering on everything that they need. Okay, I'll get off my little soapbox. And is there anything else that you would like to add before we hop off the call?
Just all the uncertainty is normal. All the fails are normal. There is not one business, whether it's, Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or he took 20 some years to become what he is. I think we have this, you see a successful business in your town and you just don't know that the journey probably started 7 years before you saw what you saw. And I think that it takes longer than you do. And I'm not saying that to stop people. I'm saying it to make sure you financially prepare for it, and mentally prepare for it. So if that's a key thing, I think imposter syndrome is really key with health professionals. We think we don't have any business being in business. And I think that you need to get over that. And I had a hard time faking it till I make it. I always use the word we, especially when my business partners exited, because I sounded so less significant. I do this and so I'd always say we. But, it doesn't matter. And who cares, right? Who cares how big your thing is? And when people ask, how's your business doing? Don't feel like it's only based on finances. I just think that you need to define what success looks for you and truck it. Everybody is on the struggle bus. We all want to help each other. We're really not in silos. I don't want to sit there and not help other people. Ask for help, ask for guidance. But it's a long road, but it is definitely worth it.
100%. Shehla, we're going to put all of your contact info in the show notes. And I would love for any of the rehab, private practice owners who are interested and just want to know more, please reach out to Shehla Rooney and hit her up. I'm all about supporting us and the community and this group of rehab professionals. So let's do it and make it happen.
Yes. And if I could just say, I've learned that if you don't ask, you don't get. So here's my quick ask. Anybody listening who is a private practice owner or does concierge or private pay or has a business that they sell products, again, reach out to me. Like I said, either you can help your knee replacement patients or chronic knee patients. You could create a revenue stream of bringing in new clients. You could use it as a marketing opportunity for surgeons who are like, hey, we're trying to find someone who has a niche. I can help with all those things, generate revenue and word of mouth and increase clientele. I can help.
100%. Go team.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shehla, for coming on. Really appreciate you.